Economics. While continuing with the next topic, chapter second, we were doing, and the sector of the Indian economy. We were on this point, where are most of the people employed. So where means in which sector most of the people employed, because it is about the sector of the economy. So he's just asking where in which sector most of the people employed. So graph 2 represent percentage share of the three sector in GDP. So there the percentage is given out of all the three sector for the share of in the case of GDP. That means gross domestic product, means total value of goods and services produced by each sector. Now you can directly see the changes, importance of the sector over the 40 years. So this is the graph you have to analyze, where the years are given basically 1973-74, then 2013-14, with the difference of 40 years. And now this is the contribution in percentage, and that is the share of each sector in GDP in percentage. So blue, that has been represented by primary, and the red one is secondary, and the green one is the tertiary sector. So primary is contributing more for the GDP in terms of percentage, then least is the secondary, then the more is the tertiary. The trend can be asked in the MCQ, because you cannot take the MCQ so easily. So you have to just go through the trend. And then 2013-14, what happens that primary sector has been reduced, and then increasing contribution of tertiary sector, then secondary, then primary. Then it happens in this way. So here the most contribution has been done by in 2013-14, that is tertiary sector, which is the recent trend. Now the more contribution in GDP is by the tertiary sector. A remarkable fact about India is that while there has been a change in the share of the three sector in GDP, a similar shift has not taken place in employment. So the shift, the more importance has been given to tertiary sector, because the share from tertiary sector has been increasing comparatively. This portion has been increasing, and this portion has been decreasing to the large extent. And secondary sector, contribution of secondary sector has been increasing in this 40 years. So but now they are saying that in graph 3 shows the share of employment in the three sector in 1970-73 and 2011-12, the primary sector continuing with the largest employer ever now. So this is the another graph which is showing share of sector in employment. These are the 2 year, 1972-73, then 2011-12, and this is the share in the percentage for the employment. So maximum share, employment has been given by primary sector, then it is tertiary, then it is secondary. Now while seeing the 2011-12, maximum contribution again from the primary sector, then there is a near gap between the primary, secondary and tertiary sector. So the maximum contributor for the employment has remained the same, that is the primary sector over there, and the contribution by primary and secondary and tertiary both have been increased, but not to large extent. So this is the case. Now why did not similar shift out of primary sector happen in the case of employment? Now the question is that if you can see they are comparing the graph from the GDP contribution and employment contribution from these sector. They are saying that there is a increasing contribution of GDP from tertiary sector in 2013-14, but in 2011-12 they are asking, this is the data available over there. So in 2011-12, what happens that in the case of employment, by giving the employment, more contribution by primary sector. If more GDP is contributed by tertiary, why not more employment is contributed by the tertiary sector? If less GDP contribution by the primary, then why primary sector is giving more employment in case of 2011-12? So that is the question. It is because, now this is the answer, it is because not enough jobs were created in the tertiary and secondary sector. So because the jobs are not offered to large extent in both the sector. Now that is through industrial output, or the production of goods went up by the more than 9 times during the period. Employment in the industry went up by around 3 times, and the same applies to tertiary sector as well. While production in the service sector rose by 14 times, but the employment in the service sector rose around only 5 times, because the primary and tertiary and secondary sector was not giving, they were not providing that much employment in 2013-14 data, as per the data given. As a result, more than half of the workers in the country are working in the primary sector. Definitely, mainly in agriculture, producing only a quarter of the GDP is in contrast to this. The secondary and tertiary sector produce 4/5 of the product, whereby they employ less than half the people. Does this mean that the workers in agriculture are not producing as much as they could? Now what it means is that there are more people in agriculture than is necessary. So even if you move a few people out, production will not be affected. In other words, the workers in agriculture sector are underemployed. So that has been pointed out. More people are employed in primary sector. That is not the achievement for primary sector, because here the people are working in primary sector, they are basically contributing nothing. If they are out of this agriculture sector, if they moved out of the agriculture sector or primary sector, even then there will be no decrease in the production. So that is known as underemployment. Fine. Now for instance, take the case of small farmer Lakshmi, owning about 2 hectares of unirrigated land dependent only on rain and growing crops like jawar and arhar. All 5 members of her family work in the plot throughout the year. Why? They have nowhere else to go. So they are saying that if suppose 1 or 2 person are required over there, even then all the family members of the Lakshmi are employing on the same plot, doing the same activity. Basically they are contributing nothing, but even then they are all in the same activity. That is in primary sector. They have nowhere else to go for work, because no work from secondary and tertiary sector available over there. You will see that everyone is working, none remain idle. So as you are noticing that everyone is working over there. If you ask from the family members of the Lakshmi, they said we were just work in the crops, we were just work in the field. But in actual fact, their labor effort gets divided. Each one is doing some work, but no one is fully employed over there. So that is known as underemployment. This is a situation of underemployment where people are apparently working. Apparently means it seems that they are working, but all of them are made to work less than their potential. And then you can say their working hour for one day, they are getting less working hour for one day what they should get. This kind of underemployment is hidden in the contrast to someone who does not have a job, and it clearly defined as unemployed. So underemployment and unemployed, they both are the different thing. The question can be asked, what is the difference between underemployment and unemployed? Unemployed is the person who is not getting the job at the prevailing wage rate for his skill and for his work. So prevailing wage rate means whatever the wage rate is prevailed in the economy, they are not getting that. That is the unemployment. What is underemployment? Underemployment, they are not getting the full working hours, and they are doing some work, but their potential is not utilized to the full. So this is the underemployment. It is also called the disguised unemployment. So underemployment is also known as the disguised unemployment. That means the hidden unemployment basically, but the name is not hidden. The name is given disguised unemployment. Now supposing a landlord Sukhram comes and hire 1 or 2 members of the family to work on his land. Now Lakshmi family is now able to earn some extra income through wages, since you do not need 5 people to look after that small plot, and 2 people moving out does not affect the production on their farm, because all the 5 members of the Lakshmi working on the land on that plot, but they were not required. But when some of the people are doing some other work, like Sukhram came over there and hired those people, then there will be no reduction in the production from that plot. So in the above example, 2 people may move out of the work in a factory, and once again the earning of the family would increase, and they would also they continue to produce as much as from their land. So that is so that you should these examples are given over there, that the people in the village area or in the rural area, they should not always go for agriculture activity and contributing nothing. If they those people work over there, people employed on the plot or on the crop or on the field up to the number that has been required over there, not over that requirement. It should not be done, otherwise there lies underemployment. So there is underemployment all over the area, that because these 2 graphs shows clearly the picture. Their contribution is very least, and employment is very to the very large extent comparatively these 2 sectors. So it is so they should not be done, and it can be easily said from this data there is an underemployment. The question can come that as you can see from the graph of the 2011-12 data, more contribution by the tertiary sector for GDP, but less employment from that sector, but primary sector is contributing very least out of these 3 sectors. And even then more employment is given to the more employment tag is given to the primary sector, in terms of percentage. So why is it so? What is the reason? There you can say this is known as the underemployment. People are working, they are apparently working in the primary sector, but they are contributing nothing from that sector. Some of the work they are doing, but their potential is not used up to the fullest. Now the next paragraph, there are lakhs of farmers like Lakshmi in India. This means that even if you remove a lot of people from agriculture sector, provide them working or some other work, then their income can be increased. So in this way their income can be increased also. So some other non-farm activity must be introduced in rural area. Now the next thing, this underemployment can also happen in other sector. For example, there are thousands of casual workers in service sector in urban area who search for daily employment. They are employed as painter, plumber, repair person, other doing odd jobs. Many of them don't find work every day. So similarly, we see other people of services on the street pushing a cart or selling something where they may spend the whole day, but on a very little they are also doing this work because they do not have better opportunity. So likewise, it can be said that in other sector like tertiary and secondary sector, underemployment always found. That they are giving the example like people are working, people are getting the wages just for their work, not for the whole day in many cases, like plumber, painter, but their potential also not used up to the fullest. So in the urban area also you can see the underemployment. So that question can be asked, that underemployment can exist in, or underemployment exists in urban area. How can you say? You can say that they are employed as a painter, plumber, repair person and some other doing the job which they are not getting the work for the whole day, and their potential are not using up to the fullest in the urban area also. So the question can come, underemployment found in urban area also. It is found in the rural area, but is it found in the urban area also? Then you will say that definitely in the urban area, and this paragraph you will write for supporting your answer. Now we see other people of service sector on the street pushing a cart or selling something where they may spend the whole day but earn very little. Fine, and they don't have the better opportunities. That might be possible that graph will be given to you and this table will be given that now write down the share in GDP for this year 1972, 73, 73, 74, 2011, 12, 13, 14. Definitely graph will be given to you. That will not be asked that you are to just learn all the data and just write down over there. So the graph will be given, and then they can this question can be asked that what is the percentage share in employment or share in the GDP for that year. Then you can easily fill up. And now underemployment occurs when people are working less than what they are capable of doing. That is the third point is the answer. So compare and contrast the changes in India with the pattern of the developed countries, and what kind of changes between the sector were desired. Basically in developed countries, the contribution made by the each sector and employment is not having the big difference as you are observing in the case of India. So that you will mention over there. And next question is, why should we be worried about underemployment? Definitely this is the case of concern, because the people are not getting the work for the whole day, and they are getting very less work, so they are earning very less, and that will not be enough for whole family. So that is why the underemployment is definitely a matter of concern for the government. So it is very important to provide them full-time employment, and in the case of rural area, underemployment can be solved by providing some non-agriculture activity over there. Now the next thing, how to create more employment. From the above discussion we can see that there continues to be considerable underemployment in agriculture. That we have noticed from the data and from the all. There are also people who are not employed at all. In what ways can one increase employment for people? Let us look at some of them. Let's take up the example of Lakshmi. With her 2-hectare plot of unirrigated land, the government can spend money or bank can provide a loan to construct a well for her family to irrigate the land. Lakshmi will then be able to irrigate her land and take a second crop, wheat, during a Rabi season. Let's suppose that 1 hectare of wheat can provide employment to 2 people for 50 days, including sowing, watering and fertilizer. And this is the problem of the Lakshmi. They are taking the problem of one farmer, and the similar type of problem are found in the case of other farmers also, other poor farmers. So there the suggestions have been given for the government to do all that. Government can give money for irrigation facilities to this Lakshmi, so that the problem can be solved, and the crop can be better and employment can be better improved over there. And activities like crop activities like harvesting, irrigation, all these, fertilizer, sowing, cutting, all these activities can be done over there so easily. So 2 more members of the family can be employed in her own field. Now suppose a new dam is constructed and canal are dug to irrigate many such farms. This could lead to lots of unemployment. This could lead to a lot of employment generation within the agriculture sector itself, reducing the problem of underemployment. So underemployment can be solved because now the crop is having the proper rain and all the facilities, and due to this facility the crop will gain good return, and that return will be enough for the member who are involved in the agriculture activity. Definitely the resources will be there, then definitely there should be there should be enough people, there should be more people required over there to handle all these activities. Now suppose Lakshmi and other farmers produce much more than before. They would also need to sell more of this. For this, they may be required to transport their product to the nearby town. If the government invests some money in the transportation and the storage of crops, or make better rural roads so that mini trucks reach everywhere, several farmers like Lakshmi who now may have access to water can continue to grow and sell these crops. This activity can provide productive employment to not just farmer but also the who are involved in the services. So other type of suggestions for the government in the case of Lakshmi, like farmers, that government should invest for transportation, government should invest for marketing, so that the crop made by the Lakshmi with so much hard work and after using all the facilities given by the government can be easily sold out in the market, and there the more people will be required over there also. So this will increase the employment and increase the return for Lakshmi, and farmers like Lakshmi can sell their crop easily with these facilities. So Lakshmi's need is not confined to the water alone. To cultivate the land, she also needs seeds, fertilizer, agriculture equipment and pump set to draw water. Being a poor farmer, she cannot afford many of these. So she will have to borrow money from money lender and pay a high rate of interest. So after elaborating the problem of Lakshmi, here the many more things she needs, and for that she needs money, and now she is going for money lender and pay high rate of interest over there. And if the local bank gives a credit at reasonable rate of interest to Lakshmi, then she will be able to buy all these things and cultivate her land. And this means that along with water, we also need to provide cheap agriculture credit to farmers for farming to improve. And we'll look at some of these needs in chapter 3, money and credit, that we have seen that because money and credit we have done. So there we just notice that why money is required by the poor farmer, for which activities money is required by the poor farmer. So all these activities done by the Lakshmi, you need lots of money, and that can be given by the local bank, and she can be protected from the exploitation of the money lender. Another way by which we can tackle this problem is to identify and promote the local industry and services in the semi-rural area where large number of people may employed. So many other activities can be generated, initiated by the government. For example, suppose many farmers decide to grow arhar and chickpea, that is pulse crops. So setting up a dal mill to procure and process these and sell it in the cities is one of the example. So food processing centers can be, or food processing industries can be opened over there with the help of government and with the guidance of the government, because the farmers are very poor, and so initiative must be taken by the government by establishing this food processing industries over there, so that they can help out the poor farmer, and they can provide the crop from the sowing and doing all the cutting activities and preparing the crops up to the food processing industry, then to the final consumer. Now opening a cold storage could have given opportunity for the farmers store their produce like potatoes, onion, and sell them when the price is good. So all these products can be sold out when the price is good by the farmer, and that is the part of the marketing which should be given. That is a part of the marketing, and this knowledge should be given by the government to farmers for helping them out. In villages near forest area, we can start honey collection center, and where farmers can come and sell the honey. It is also possible to set industry that process vegetables, agriculture produce like potatoes, sweet potato, rice, wheat, tomato, fruits, which can be sold in outside markets. This will provide employment industries located semi-rural areas and not necessarily in the large urban centers. So there the semi-rural area can be developed to that extent by by starting all this industry? So that question can be asked. If you want to remove the poverty in rural area or semi-rural area and to remove the underemployment, what are the suggestions you can give? So these are the suggestions like opening food processing industry, opening honey collection, and dairy industry can be opened over there. Like agriculture produce like sweet potato, rice, wheat, they can be produced or sold out in the market, outlet market, that can be sold out by the farmer itself, so they can sell out their product to the final consumer and get the good return out of that. And they can have the cold storage houses over there even, so that the goods can be stored and they can be protected from pest and any other harm, and then they can be sold when the price is good in the market. So now the next thing is, do you know that in India about 60% of the population that belong to the age group of 5 to 29, means lots of youth or lot of young people are in India comparatively other country. That is also known for India is known for the young people, because generation of population of young people are more in India comparatively other country. Out of this, only about 51% are attending educational institution. That is very bad part, that only 51% are attending educational institution in this global era. So the rest are not. They may be at home, or many of them may be working in as a child labor. That is a very bad for the country. Education should be for all, and there is a right of education. The law has been introduced, and the child labor, if the child labor is there, then lots of punishments are there. Even then child labor is over there, that because that data shows this data shows this. What about what all the remaining 50% are doing? Definitely they are doing some work, or they are just wasting their time, or indulging in some activity, economic activity. If these children are to attend school, we will require more building, more teachers, other staff. And a study conducted by the erstwhile Planning Commission, now known as the Niti Aayog, estimates that nearly 20 lakh jobs can be created in the education sector alone. Similarly, we are to improve the health situation. We need many more doctors, nurses, health workers, because to work in the rural area, there are some ways by which jobs would be created. We would also be able to address the important aspect of development talked about in chapter 1. So development of the country is very important. That has been taught in the chapter 1 to you. So they are saying that if all these people, all these young population who are not studying, if the study and health, if the education and health services are to provide these people, then definitely the job will arise, and 20 lakh jobs can be arisen out of that.